All right, welcome to another edition of the Stay True podcast, brought to you by T.R.U.E Coaching. I'm your host, Lamont, where triumph requires unlimited effort. Today we have Mr. David Hardman. What's going on, David?
What's up, sir? How's it going?
Good, bro. So the podcast, the whole the idea behind it to provide a little motivation, a little inspiration. Okay, so we're gonna get to that. But first, what I want to do is introduce you to the people, man. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Wow. Okay, so my name is David Hardman, as Lamont mentioned. Originally from Houston, Texas, born and raised. Now I'm living out in Colorado. I've been working in higher education for the last 16 years. Also, do a little art and stuff on the side, so you see a little bit of my work behind me. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna get into it. So
for sure. So, David, talk a little bit about growing up in Houston. What was that like?
Man, wow, you making me try to go back and think now. You're making me try to go back and think. It was, I mean, for me, it was good. It was good. You still had some of the typical things, but for me, it was trying to find ways to get out of there, man, and push myself forward, man. But it was good. I had a lot of great people around me. Just thinking about even back to high school and playing sports there, and then having an opportunity to go play in college. But just from my high school alone, we had 7 different players that had the opportunity to go play in the NFL. One of the guys that I played with went to play in the NFL. We had a basketball team that won state 3 years in a row. We had guys from there that went to go play D1 and play in the NBA. And we had a lot of talent there, man. We had a phenomenal band, marching band that was there. It was #1 in the nation when the marching the Macy's Day Parade. But we had a lot of talented people there, man. I just remember it. Especially in school, man, just feeling a part of a big family, a lot of friends and stuff out of that, man. We did some work back in them days. We did some work.
So again, you're listening to the Stay True podcast, being brought to you by T.R.U.E Coaching, where triumph requires unlimited effort. We have Mr. David Hardman. David, the whole premise behind the interview today, I could not think of a better or a different term than vision. So before we really jump into vision, talk about your art background and why you love art so much.
Wow. So now you're trying to make me go further back than what we just went. So art for me started in a place really as a release and just being creative. I've been drawing since a very, very, very young kid. So 2 things I would say that's been with me pretty much my entire life. One is art, the other is church. Grew up in church. I was actually named by my bishop. But from a very young age, I was even drawing in my Bible, drawing me at the pulpit and stuff. So art started very young for me. It really started taking off for me in elementary school, believe it or not. My 5th grade year, I entered the competition in Houston to go to an art institution there in Houston. I was one of the people that won. I got a scholarship. So as early as 6th grade, I started going to art school. I got a scholarship for it. I was able to go there for 2 semesters. I got a scholarship back to back. I was the first student from my school, my elementary school, that won a scholarship. And I think I was the first Black person to win the scholarship to that school. So it started very, very young for me. And it just kind of been one of them things that have been around, like creating. So
tell me how art translates into vision for you.
Man, art translates into a lot of different things, as well as vision, but being able to see something before it's on paper is the biggest thing, right? To take an idea or feeling or whatever from your mind or your being, and then being able to produce that thing takes a lot of vision. It also takes a lot of planning, problem solving, working through stuff, and research as well, because you don't always know everything and know all the tools that you need to use. So you're learning as you're creating. So, but yeah, I would say the biggest thing is being able to take a thought or a feeling and then create something from that, or even someone else's thoughts, right? To have a conversation with somebody and they say, hey, I want X, Y, and Z, and you start to develop that image or picture in your head, and then you bring that forward as well. So
So I truly believe there's a distinct difference between sight and vision.
mhm.
Sometimes people confuse it. Some people think because they see it, then that's vision, but that's truly not the case. So how do you communicate vision to people who have sight but think they have vision?
Oh, wow, man, he was ready today. He
No,
came out with the he came out with the home runs today. He just throwing. He don't even get no 1-2 jabs, just haymakers. Okay. I think sight is what it is what you can see in front of you. Is that simple. Vision could be taken in so many different ways, really, but it's being able to see yourself in a place before you get there, right? It's the same as faith. What is faith, right? Evidence of things that are not seen. So it's still living in that space, but being able to see something like I mentioned before in your mind versus just what's on paper in front of you. So the sight, I would say, is what's in black and white, and vision is sometimes gray. You got to bring it to that black and white. Right.
How frustrating is it to have a vision that you know can be beneficial, but you're the only one that understands that vision in the room?
The most difficult part about that is having to sit in that until everybody else catches up. Sometimes you'll get the grace to be able to do so, especially if you're the person in power. Then yes, you get the grace to move forward and do whatever. But when you're not the person in power, having to sit in it till everyone else, actually begins to see it, or they see someone else do it, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea now." So it's definitely a difficult place to be in. And like I said, trying to find a way to sit in that and be comfortable. But one of the things that I have started to do or try to do is say, hey, this is what I see. This is how I see it. These are the pieces of the puzzle, and just give that information. And if they're willing to move forward, then we move forward. If you're not willing to move forward, when it comes, it'd be like, okay, yeah, I mentioned it. This is what I had on the plate then. So
see, indirectly, what I like is it speaks to the entrepreneur who's in the room and they got this burning sensation inside, and they the only one that get it at the moment. And to that person, you say what?
keep pushing forward, right? I'm gonna share this story. I don't know if we're gonna get there or not, but I'm gonna share this story, right? So for me, I spent 3 years of my life hiding from the world, hiding from my friends, because I was embarrassed, right? And it wasn't something that was a surface thing. It was something that was not only tied to me, but tied to my culture. So I mentioned in the 5th grade, I had some triumphs with art, not so much with academics at the time, right? I was given everything I had. I was told you need to make 100 on this final to be able to move on to the next grade. And I'm doing everything I had. I'm giving everything that I had, and I end up passing, right? I'm excited about it. At the same time, they're like, okay, you passed, but we also need to test you because we believe you have a disability. Anyways, I'm excited. I'm run home. I passed. And I remember somebody telling me that you didn't earn that, they gave it to you. And that was one of the first times when I started, okay, one, I feel extreme high of excitement and then immediately crush, right? Then to follow that up with, okay, you're dyslexic, you have this disability, and we're gonna put you in these remedial courses. So I spent the next 3 years in middle school, as I mentioned at the beginning of this story, hiding, like, trying to go to class, be the last one going to class on everybody before the bell rings, trying to make sure I'm not sitting in the way where people walk past the door, they can see me. I'm down in there with my head like this, trying to cover my face. As soon as the bell rings, trying to be the first one in the hallway and away from that classroom. And I just spent all that time hiding and trying to cover this thing up, and really accepting what somebody else's vision was for my life. And then when I got to high school, I said, enough was enough. I'm the one who gets to drive this wheel of my life because it's my life. And you were talking about specifically to somebody who's being an entrepreneur. It's the same thing. You're the person that's driving that steering wheel, regardless of whatever anybody else says, thinks, has projected on your business, your life, your vision, whatever. At the end of the day, you're the one sitting behind the wheel. It's your life. You get to pick where it goes. It takes work, but you get to pick where it goes. So that's what I would have to say to that.
Well, one of the things that as you were talking, man, I was trying to imagine a form of dyslexia when someone is pursuing a dream or aspiration, right? Somebody's telling them this is how you learn. They're pretty much speaking death into how they're approaching their dreams and aspirations, and which is when you label people like with a dyslexia, or you label people a certain way. So again, David, again, when I think about you, I think about vision, and again, for the person who, and let me go back just for a second. Let me go this way, because Miles Monroe said it best. He said that the cemetery is the richest place on earth because of the dreams and aspirations that were left behind. Now, it could be because somebody told them that they had a form of dyslexia. It could have been somebody who told them that poverty is the reason why you're not able. It's all these different labels. And so, and you mentioned about the Bible. The Bible says the people perish for the lack of vision. So what I want you to do right now, man, is give us some examples of some of your visions, if you could, for me. Like some of the things that you're involved in, and kind of so people can kind of understand that you may be labeled this way early on, but as you matriculate through life, you can still overcome. So talk about some of the things that you're involved in.
Yeah, it still goes back to for starters, goes back to that same story for me, right? So I was in a place where, one, you're sat in the corner and you're set aside. You're basically told that you're not going to graduate from high school. You're not worth it. College isn't even an option at that point. So, like I said, it's my destiny. I'm the one who gets to drive this steering wheel for my life. So I just began to fight, man. And I set goals of saying, hey, I'm going to be the first one to go to college. That in itself is a vision, because no one else in my family has done so. Nobody else knows what this road looks like. In my family, there's other people who've done it, obviously, but in my family, nobody knows what this looks like. And also, let me mention this. In that time frame, nowadays we have all of these disabilities, and there's things that you can do for them, right? There's different study skills and so on and so forth. We ain't had that when I got diagnosed. It was figure it out, right? And one of the things that I tell my kids all the time is repetition is the father of learning. And I knew for me, I had to do more reps than anybody else, regardless of what you're looking at doing, you got to put in the work. And at the end of the day, if it's sports, if it's marketing, if it's whatever the case may be, you got to put in the work and you got to put in those repetitions. What is it? 10,000 hours? 10,000, yeah, 10,000 hours to be able to become a master at something. You got to put in the work, man. The time has to be put in. But we talking about vision. That was part of it for me. Being able to go to college when nobody else has done it, and to have this other thing looming over me saying that you can't go. Then not only going, and when I got there, my mindset was I'm taking over. This is my place, right? I graduated with 2 majors, 2 minors, and 4 years. Played 2 sports and did a whole bunch of other stuff while I was there. Even while I was there, being able to create events and stuff that lasted 10 to 15 years well after I was gone, or the stuff that I've been able to do with marketing, be it at the places that I work, with my college draft, with Davido Designs, you know what I'm saying? All those different things. So just really figuring out what you want. So you're talking about vision. Here's something that for me is interesting, right? One, what is vision without any direction? So you can have all of these great ideas and everything, but if it's not directed towards something, you're not going to be able to get to it, right? So also with that vision comes structure, comes routine, all those different things that you need to be successful in looking and studying successful people. There has to be some type of routine, and there has to be consistency to get to whatever you're trying to get to, whether you have the vision or not. When you're talking about visions dying, right, in grave sites, part of the reason is because you don't have the other things to go with it. You have the picture looks nice, but how do we get to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the steps to take to get to it? What's my routine? What resources do I know? I mentioned earlier not being able to have all of the tools and being able to problem solve. You got to go through all of those things to get to whatever that vision is. It's one thing to have a vision, but it's another thing to be able to take the steps to make that come to fruition.
I like it. Tell me what drove you as a teenager.
Yeah, what drove me then is very different than what drives me now. Then I was hell bent on proving everyone wrong. Everyone who said you couldn't do this, you're too dumb, you're not smart enough, you're not fast enough, you don't have the capabilities. That was my drive, to prove them wrong, and to prove myself right. That was a drive for a very, very long time. It's a lot different now that I got kids, but then that's what the drive was. So,
and so transferring to what drives you now. You mentioned the kids, but
yeah, now is legacy. Before it was being a trailblazer. Now is building the legacy, right? I feel like I've done quite a bit at this point, but I feel like I still haven't done enough. But I also want to leave my kids in the space to where they have one step ahead of where I started. And then hopefully they can continue that trend. You start thinking about inheritance, right? What are the things that they're going to receive, not even before I'm gone, but while I'm here now? What things can I sow into them to make their journey a little bit easier? What knowledge points can I start giving to them and teaching them now that will help them in the future? So those things, man. And then after I'm gone too, I want to be able to leave them more than just a bill, for the casket. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to leave them a little bit more than that. So that's kind of what it is for me at this point, is my kids and the legacy that I'm going to leave. Because to say that I'm the first person in my family, especially male, who's graduated from college, we've created a space to where now we can turn a corner, not only as my family, my household, but my entire family, right? It's possible, regardless of what you think or feel. We came from the same place. It's possible. It takes work, but it's possible. So
Obviously you sound like a really good father.
thank you, sir. Thank
Tell
you.
me what helps you to be a good father.
Ah, man. Man, just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker today. Okay. Okay,
They
Lamont.
gotta know. They gotta
Okay,
know what
Lamont.
you do,
I
man.
see you. I see you. The first thing I would say is using my pain for success. I would say is the first thing. As a young Black male who did not know his father, I call him my donor, to use that pain and lack of, and to flip that so my kids don't have that experience, right? Now I can't fully say that because I did have a stepfather who stepped in and he provided, and I'm more than grateful for the things that he's been able to do. And I carry his last name, right? So I'm still am a representation of him and the sacrifices that he made for me and my brother and my mother, and then my sister, which is his child, as well. So I can't fully disregard that and the things that he showed me indirectly. But there are still things that I feel like I missed in my life that I want to make sure that my kids don't miss. The other thing is there's no script to this. There's no script to being a father. There's no script to being a husband. There's no script to being a man. There's a couple things that they throw out there that you got to be a provider and protector, but there's so much more than that. And I'm learning every day. And the things that I learn, I'm instilling those into my kids, right? So like I mentioned before, trying to fill those voids of the stuff that I didn't have, and using my pain as their success, and to hope that they don't have that anymore. I understand me taking a moment of my time could change their entire life, right? The 30 minutes or an hour that I'm like, I don't really feel like going out here to do this right now, creates memories that they'll be able to hold on to. Right. So when they're like, hey, let's go outside and play, or let's go work on basketball or football, or, just run around, or let's sit at the table and we tell dad jokes at dinner, taking that time to pour into them, I think is very, very important, because it's going to change their lives for the future. And there's some things that I strategically do to make sure that we get that time every day, right? We used to be a family who enjoyed dinner in front of the television. Everybody sitting down, eating, we not having no interaction, no conversation. Nobody's checked anybody's temperature to see how their day was or anything. A couple of years ago, I stopped that. No more dinner in front of the television. We all sit at the table together. There's 4 of us, so we, got a nice little square off going. We sit down and we eat and we have conversations and we joke. Like I mentioned earlier, we may go around the table and say jokes or whatever, or even from us sitting there taking that time to eat together and interact. A little goldfish card game may pop off or whatever, but we have that opportunity to sit down and check on everybody, see how everybody's doing, answer any questions that need to be answered. All that great stuff, man. Just so, like I said, building those memories for them. So then at some point in their lives, they'll be able to do that and hopefully add to it.
Man, I like the daily saying that you give them. You know it. You remember it.
So, here you go.
Bro, it's powerful, man.
Here you go.
Go ahead.
Let me try to remember. Okay. I have a heart of a lion, so I'll wear my crown with pride. I have a soul of an eagle. If I don't try to fly, I will never soar. I have a wisdom of an isle, so I will pursue excellence relentlessly every day. I am great. I am great. I am great. And that's something they have to say every morning in the mirror to themselves.
I like it, bro.
Yeah.
Again, you listen to the Stay True podcast, been brought to you by T.R.U.E Coaching, where triumph requires unlimited effort. We have Mr. David Hardman. David, you mentioned briefly about Davido Designs. Let's talk about it.
So it's a place for me to be able to be creative. So the Davido part actually is a name that derives from David, obviously, but that was given to me by my godparents as a young whippersnapper, as they say. Yeah, it was given to me a long time ago, but designs also gives me a space to be able to just be creative, right? Some people have gotten shoes from me or purchased shoes from me from that, but it also, like I said, gives me a space to be creative, so I can create paintings and do skateboards, make TikTok boards and all kinds of stuff. Just a space to be creative and not limit myself to just one thing, but also to be able to put my creative thoughts and feelings and emotions into whatever the project may be. We talked a little bit about art on here. I do have a couple of degrees from art for my bachelor's degrees, but as a person from hip hop culture and everything else, I got to be a little bit of a rebel. So and also incorporating that, I wanted to put my art on different things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, traditionally, a skateboard is not a traditional art canvas, but why can't I put a signature art or a replica of so on a skateboard? And then let's have the conversation if this is art or not, right? Or if I put it on some shoes or whatever the case may be. So to just take it outside the box, tie it back to the culture and who I am and things that are a part of me, I think is important. And that's kind of what that represents for me. Even the logo is a shoestring, but it's also my initial, so different things like that. And then also the crest for me is very, very important. It starts getting into like family history and who are you and that kind of thing. So just paying honor to the people who are before me and around me. I mean, even with art, my mom absolutely loves it. That's what she does as a hobby. She'd be trying to paint any and everything and draw any and everything. And then be trying to grill me because I got an education in it. So how do I do this and how do I do that? So yeah, but that's just a little bit of what that is. So
David, provide the social media contact information so people can see what it is that you do, man. So.
Okay, everything's at Davido Designs. Is Davido Designs or Davido _Designs. So that's where everything is. So it's DAVIDEO_Designs. So that's it. Yep.
And so
YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, all those places.
But that box in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. So to let them know that they're at the right spot, that should be popping up in the back with the D, with the shoestring.
That, you'll see that, or you'll see my face with a crown on my head. That's what you'll see. My face with a crown on my head. That's what you'll see.
I like it. So someone who does art like you, and as long as you, presentation is everything. Give advice to someone who has a brand that's trying to get it out. Give them some advice, man.
Man, first you got to figure out what is your brand and what is it about. And then you have to decide whether if you are your brand or if your brand is separate from you. I think Jay-Z said it the best. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman, right? So are you your business and are you your brand, right? And then what does that stand for? And then there's so many different levels to it. Whether you're looking at what are your colors are going to be, if those have meaning, do you have a word mark separate from your logo? Depending on what type of business it is, are you on your stationery, your headers, so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of different components to it, but I think the biggest one is trying to figure out what you stand for as a brand and what is your story. Because the thing that people connect to is people, regardless of whatever your brand is. There's a person behind it. So, which goes back to that statement. Is your brand you, right? And then what is the story of that brand?
If I could issue out a personal challenge, anyone who has a marketing department who has the responsibility of doing visuals, I challenge you to right now and on behalf of David, bring it. I bet you David got you. I don't care who you are. I guarantee you he got you. Go to Davido Designs and find out for yourself. It's real simple. It's real simple. David, you underselling yourself, bro. Your stuff is off the chain. I've seen your skateboards. I've seen your shoes. I've seen the stuff that you do, bro. And I will definitely issue out the challenge. People know I don't like putting no money out, but I will put money out against anybody up against David right now. Right now. So, but again, you listen to the Stay True podcast, been brought to you by T.R.U.E Coaching, where triumph requires unlimited effort. Now, Dave, this is a part where we do, I throw words out.
Oh man.
I throw words out and you give me what's on your heart with the words that I throw out.
Okay. All right. I've seen this on some other ones. It makes me a little nervous, but let's go.
The words typically fit the person, right? So
okay.
Now, I throw you some underhanded ones. Legacy.
Legacy. I mean, we talked about that earlier, but for me, is what I leave for my kids, but also what I instill into them right now, as they begin to build their own legacy and blaze their own trails.
Father versus the word dad.
So when you say dad, the first thing that comes to mind is unfortunately baby daddy. and anybody who can produce can be a baby's daddy. But it's something different about being a father. Man, see what you're doing out here in these streets. So first, when I think of father, I think of our Heavenly Father, right? In order to be a father and to be a father that the way he's done it, requires love. And love differently than what most people understand. Agape love, right? Which holds nothing against the person at any time. So from my perspective of trying to be a father, is trying to embody that with my kids. And it's difficult. It's a journey. But when you start talking about father, that's what, for me, it really means. And that stems down to love, man. Agape love, man. And then how do I show that to my kids? How do I instill that into their lives? And how do the things that I teach them come from that space?
Now I'm about to get some geometric shapes, but they still fit the line of questions. Circle.
Circle. I guess endless, man. It continues to go endless.
Square.
Yeah. Square. Man. Okay. Yeah, this is a little left. Box. That's the only thing I can think of right now. Yeah.
And you are a visionary who sees out of the box. So that's why I threw out square. Right. So this is what I want from you, man. As we said,
Hold on, before you get to that, because I didn't know. Well, no, I didn't know if he was going to go to a third shape or not.
No, I'm going a different word.
So, well, the last two words are shapes. But the thing that for me, for both of them, that popped up was they enclose something. Whether it's a circle or you said square, I said box. Either way, they all enclose something. They put people inside of a barrier. It doesn't, or a thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but they put them inside of a barrier, regardless if it's a circle or a box. That empty space can hold something. So just thinking in that space, do you live inside of it or outside of it? Are you conforming to whatever somebody else gives you? Or are you willing to step outside of that and create your own thing, which is what we talked about earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
hey,
go ahead.
The floor is yours, bro. It's yours. Let's go. Scar tissue.
Heals. Heals. Definitely heals. It may leave a mark, but it heals. Right? In the tissue heals. The memory is your choice whether it heals or not. Okay. So I spoke earlier about this gentleman not being in my life, right? At a very young age, I forgave him for that. And I mentioned this before in another video, but I didn't forgive him for him necessarily. I forgave him for me because I didn't want to carry that baggage with me. I didn't want that to be something that put me in a box, right? I wanted to be able to make sure that I could live outside of that. Now, is a scar still there? Yes, but it's healed. But I made a decision, right? So there's definitely a memory there, but it's healed. I made the decision to forgive him. But yeah, there's definitely a scar still there. I'm definitely gonna still feel something for it. There's something that's still visible that's there, but it's been healed. So
I love it. Let's go. Last word, victory.
Victory is mine. Victory is mine. That's what the song says anyway. Man, I think victory for everybody is different. And you will have several different victories throughout your life. Man, this is awesome because just last night I'm in the car. I'm going to go get some ice cream because I needed to get a banana split in my life. So I went to go get some ice cream. And as I'm going to go get some ice cream, I'm just thinking, man, and I was thinking about just sports and then life and then receiving honors and trophies and everything else. But I think the problem or where people get hung up is they get hung up in the victory. They get hung up in the trophy. They get hung up in the award. Those things are temporary. Fall in love with the journey because the journey never ends, right? There's going to be some times where you're like, yes, I conquered this thing. And that emotion may last a minute. It may last an hour. It may last a day. But after that, you get to get right back to the journey, right? You think about all these people who've won these Super Bowl trophies and, NBA championships or have reached a certain point in their career. Now I'm the president or whatever the case may be. But that feeling of conquering or achieving lasts for just a moment because then you got to get back to the grind, right? You got to get back to the journey so I can repeat this or I can keep this. regardless of what it is. So the victory is temporary. The journey is forever.
I like it. Now, this is where I give you, David, the floor. And
Okay.
with the title being called Vision, I need you to speak life into somebody's vision. The floor is yours.
Man, ain't that what we've been doing the whole time? Anyway, I would say, man, look, at the end of the day, you got to be able to believe in yourself like nobody else could ever believe in you. The one reason, and Lamont brought this up, the one reason that I have my kids say that poem to themselves every day is so they can learn how to speak life into themselves. Because the world will tear you down, people around you will tear you down, but you got to be able to build yourself up, and you got to be able to stand up on your own 2 feet. I don't really like the term of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, but you do got to be able to stand and fight and work for whatever you want. The question is, how bad do you want it? Is it something that you're just saying, or is it something that you actually willing to go get? And if you want it, go get it. And if you don't want it, stop talking about it.
That's exactly
We're
right.
gonna close with that.
That's exactly right. Bro, give the social media links one more time.
Davido _designs on everything. So like I said, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Instagram, Snapchat, under all that is Davido Designs or Davido _designs. And it's DAVIDEDO. Don't forget the O.
First of all, David, thank you so much, man, for coming on. We appreciate it. Was some really good information. Honest to God, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for the time, sir.
Oh, for sure. So again, you've been listening to the Stay True podcast, being brought to you by T.R.U.E Coaching. Again, where triumph requires unlimited effort. Subscribe to the channel. Get some more of this good information. Go to our Instagram, go to our TikTok that's now being developed. But follow us. We got so much for you, and we're going to continue giving it to you. Because why? Because we have to embody what we say. Because triumph requires unlimited effort.